I had a purpose before everybody had an opinion.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out.
You want Philly?
Chase Utley, you are the man.
You come out backyard and you try to start something, you always get your butt kicked.
The prayers have been answered.
How about those Eagles, baby?
And Rio Muto can run for days.
Can you feel what's about to happen on this field, man?
A perfect game. Roy Halladay has thrown the second perfect game in Philadelphia Phillies history.
All right, we are back here today with another Philly talk. Told y'all would probably do one after the game. Wouldn't want to wait till Monday, So we're here today. And before we get into things, I just want to say to my listeners who enjoy the other type of videos on this channel, I have a music video. Sorry, not me. A video for the music fans. Sometime next week. I'm still deciding on what day I'm going to record it. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, who knows. But, I was thinking about recording it actually Thursday, like uploading it yesterday on Thursday. But then I was like, if I do that and then I do a Philly talk on Friday, that's going to leave me with nothing to post the next week, So decided since I'm going to do a Philly talk here today, save it for next week. Got a, video coming out breaking down a song. And then from there, still trying to figure out what else to do. I mean, I do have a couple other ideas for like music wise, but like, I don't know. I don't really want to save everything for the year end reviews because we still got the rest of November and December to go. But it's like, again, the whole feeling inspired thing is very difficult. And then plus, got the rest of what's going on with life as you would expect to happen with a move. Got a lot of stuff trying to get done. But that's not our focus. That's not what this is for. Let's get our mind off of things by talking about Philly. First off, Mccain, game winner yesterday in OT. Amazing. Still finding this Flyers roster very confusing, with the way they've played so far, especially when you look at when you're watching a lot of these games, very confusing at times, but they're doing pretty well. 2 games in a row they've won now, 3-1 in their last 4. 2 came from the shootouts, and then yesterday was an overtime win, 5-4 against the Senators. Real fun stuff watching that. The Phillies. So we just literally talked about some free agent news in Tuesday's episode, but we have some more coming out. So first off, it's 2 moves that are essentially tied into each other. And that's the fact that sources are saying that the Phillies are amongst the top teams in the running for Alex Bregman, Houston Astros Alec Bregman, third baseman. And tied into that is the fact that Alec Bohm is supposedly on the trade block and that the Mariners are the number 1 suitor due to the fact that they might not want to be spending the amount of money it would take to get Willy Adames or Alex Bregman, free agents of that nature. So they might look at an option like Alec Bohm, who could be cheaper, could, still require a pretty decent prospect haul, but won't be, as expensive as signing a free agent like Willy Adames or Alex Bregman. Don't know how to necessarily feel about the Alex Bregman move. 30 years old, an Astro nonetheless. Very difficult to really try and assess. I'm kind of really struggling with the thought of adding him to this team. A couple of places have put out their projected contracts that they'd expect them to receive. ESPN has him at 6 years, $187 million. Another has him at 7 years, $182 million. Fangraphs has him for some reason at a extreme discount of 5 years, $140 million. And then 2 writers from The Athletic, one of them has 7 years, $189 million. The other has 7 years, $185.5 million. I just don't know how to feel about those numbers. Again, I'm not the billionaire owner who has to pay for all this stuff, but still, it's like, I'm the fan that has to watch this stuff, and it's like, do I want to watch a team 5 years down the line that is paying a bunch of 37, 38-year-olds 25 plus million, closer to 30 plus $1 million a year, and they're nowhere near playing to that level of contract as they were when they signed it, Like, I don't know. That's why, there's so much upside with Juan Soto for a lot of teams, because it's like the guy's still young, where if you give him a 10-year contract, he'll still be a decent age by the end of it, like 36 probably, which is, still up there in age, but, it's not as bad as giving a 10-year contract to a 30-year-old. It's like, do you really expect them to be worth the $30 million you're paying them when they're 40 years old? I know baseball is very different, but that's just kind of the way I feel about like a lot of the different contracts that teams hand out. But again, it's not our money as fans, so we should just hope that our owner goes out and spends whatever it takes to drastically improve the team. But yeah, I just don't know how to feel about the Bregman move overall. But I mean, like I was saying, if you end up trading Bohm, you need someone to replace him. And I guess the thing with Bregman is he's not going to require a lot of years like a lot of these other guys have in the past. So it's like you don't mind giving him a certain deal if it means solely for the fact that like he won't be prospect blocking, because obviously Aiden Miller not ready, to like come up and play. But, like, you don't want to block him for too long if he starts developing. Now, Aiden Miller is still, is he 19 or 20? He's 20 years old, turned 20 in June. So, it's like, if you sign Bregman to, let's say, a 5-year deal, Aiden Miller's 25 by the end of that deal, hopefully ready to be called up. Or, even called up maybe 2 years earlier just to be a bench piece and learn from Bregman, Like, I can understand that sort of thing, So, maybe, but I just don't know how to feel about Alex Bregman overall. Especially, had a cold start to start the year, ramped things up towards the end to end himself off with a solid season. This year, 260 batting average, 315 on base, 86 strikeouts to 44 walks. So, not a guy who strikes out a lot. Let's see, 151 hits, 30 doubles, 26 homers, 75 RBIs, 768 OPS, 118 OPS plus, got a gold glove this year, so nothing too bad, and then especially when you look at his previous years, he had some pretty good years in the past, but I don't know. Don't really know how to really feel about this, this proposed signing, But again, I mean, what other third baseman out there could you propose signing, That's just sort of the rumor mill right now. Going to be interesting to see what the Phillies do, what moves they make. I'm most interested to see what they do about the bullpen, because Hoffman, free agent, Estevez, free agent. There's a ton of free agents out there like Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, I believe, is a free agent too. I've seen that move projected to the Phillies a lot, so I'm very interested to see what they do there. But that's what's going on in the Phillies world so far. Moving on to the Sixers. A very disappointing game against the Knicks. PG went off, 29 points, 10 rebounds. Wasn't happy with the amount of turnovers he had, though. Embiid looked all right, but you could definitely tell he was gassed and is going to take a lot of time to get back on course. Just, looked out of it, hoping, as he plays more games, he gets back into the groove of things. But, of course, the main talking point, man, Jared McCain, this man, my goodness. They've called his number, and he showed up, 23 points off the bench against the Knicks, and then in the back-to-back game, knowing that PG and Embiid weren't going to play, he starts the game and drops 34 points, 10 assists, and 2 steals, followed by, good games from Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin as well. They still go on to lose that game, and sadly, Jared McCain was involved in a highlight moment where was it Donovan Mitchell that hit the dagger to really close out the game for the Cavs, and he crossed up Jared McCain for it. I believe it was Donovan Mitchell. Sucks to see it, but the rookie still had, like I said, 34 points, 10 assists, 2 steals. They've called his number and he's shown up. I still, I mean, the big issue with the entire team though still remains the defense. So many guys with negatives on the court really struggling defensively. So I wonder what changes they make there. But Jared McCain, man, has been doing really well in the absence of Tyrese Maxey. Has been really one of the few bright points on this team so far. But I'm glad to see the rookie's been doing so well. But with that being said, we move on to our main highlight, the main event, last night's game, Thursday night football, Eagles versus Commanders. Always going to be an interesting game between the two. And it led to a pretty boring game in the first 3 quarters, really. Just like last week, not happy with the first half. Could have done a lot more, The defense really showed up, though. That is the biggest highlight from this game, is that the defense showed up. You got sacks from Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and Nolan Smith Jr. A big-time interception from Reed Blankenship. Quintanamo Bay shuts down yet another receiver with Jaden Daniels not even wanting to throw it his way. Terry's lone big play comes from them moving him to the other side of the field away from Quinyon Mitchell. Just, man, what can you say except wow with that rookie, man. That rookie has been going off. 3 rookies in the city of Philadelphia all helping their team. You got Mitchkov with the overtime winner. You got Jared McCain dropping 30. And you got Quinyon Mitchell shutting every team's receivers down to the point where they don't even want to throw at him. They don't want to look his way, They're too scared. But what's it called? And it just goes even deeper than that. You got Jalen Carter was a you-know-what wrecker in the middle of the D-line. That man was just the amount of pressure that man was getting, the amount of pressure that man was creating for his fellow linemen. It was just so insane, especially on that 4th down stop. Yeah, the ball was kind of muffed a bit, on the snap, but that man literally blew up that play and helped them out so well. The defense overall, 8 TFLs on the day. Just insane play from them. Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond combined for 25 tackles. It was one of the most impressive games from the defense. And honestly, like I said, that should be the biggest talking point from the game, from this team overall. Especially because you look at last year. You look at all the bad that happened last year. What is the difference from last year with this team? Adjustments. Last year, they were the same old story over and over. It didn't matter who the defensive coordinator was. It didn't matter who the offensive coordinator was. The team was not making proper adjustments. They were just running the same thing over and over, hoping for different results. But this year, they've been making adjustments and moving guys around regardless of contract, regardless of status. You got a guy like Avonte Maddox who was getting cooked out there, and Vic Fangio was like, play the rookies. Look at what has happened. Slay getting cooked by the wide receiver 1s, no problem. You go guard their wide receiver 2 while Quinyon shuts down the receivers so badly that their QBs don't even want to look their way. Big free agent signing, Bryce Huff, he's struggling. Let's look at what made him successful with the Jets' tenure and play him more like that. And at the same time, let's not be afraid to swap in a Nolan Smith or Jeremiah Trotter Jr. for him on certain packages. You want versatility in the secondary? We got Isaiah Rodgers, CJ, Blankenship, Sidney Brown, all to work with. It's just been so amazing to watch this defense. and they're truly playing like the wild card that I called them at the beginning of the year. You know, I said that this was going to be the biggest wild card for this team, was how is this defense going to be? How successful are they going to be? And guess what? This team is successful due to that defense. This team is successful due to the youth breathing life into this defense. From Jalen Carter to Jordan Davis to Nakobe Dean to Quinyon Mitchell to Cooper DeJean. These guys have just been having such a major impact, and in turn, their play is helping out the other guys like Zach Bond, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, CJ. You know, it's like it's all coming together with this defense. They've played so dang well these past couple of games. I mean, you just look at the scores from these games, you know, it's like the Browns, 16 points. The Giants, 3 points. The Bengals, 17. The Jaguars should have been a lower score had that, you know, quote unquote fumble happened, but 23. Cowboys, 6. Commanders, 18. They've done a really good job of just stepping up when this team has needed them most, you know. And I'm just like super happy to watch this even. Like, I can't stress enough the fact that it's so great to see them make adjustments after watching them last year not want to make any adjustments, you know, not want to make any type of adjustments. I want to switch people around. I want to move people around. I want to make adjustments to the scheme, you know. And it's just like, it's such a different team, you know, to watch from last year and, you know, this year now. And then we get to the offense where it's sort of that same thing, because this offense is freaking Jekyll and Hyde. The first half was probably some of the worst offense you've ever seen out of this team with the players that they have. Saquon was kind of getting things going, but even then he wasn't as like explosive. He had a decent amount of yards in the first half, but it wasn't like from anything too crazy, you know. Hurts was kind of really struggling to get the ball to AJ, and Smithy was kind of holding on to the ball too much at times. They tried to run some trick plays that just didn't go too well. And then the second half comes, and would you look at that? They remembered how to play football. And really, it wasn't even the second half. It was more so the final quarter. They got 20 points in the fourth. AJ ends up finishing with 65 yards. Smithy, 29. Goddard, 61. But my boy, big catch, but you got to hold on to the ball. But in all honesty, though, I will say that was just a great play from the Washington defender overall, but would like to see, you know, better ball security there. Hurts finished with 221 yards and a rushing touchdown, but the main highlight, of course, I mean, what do you expect, man? Saquon Barkley, 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. That second touchdown really sealed the game. I can't believe this guy I just can't believe this guy actually plays for my team. I used to dream of times like this. This man has literally been carrying this offense. He is the offensive not the offensive player of the year, the offensive MVP of this team. You know, defensively, you probably got to give it to either Carter or Q. You know, but the offense, there's no debate. Saquon has drastically turned his team around. You know, would still like to see a lot better from this offense in the first half. You know, I just want to see them be more explosive out the gate. I want to see them, you know, really getting things together. Like, I don't know, you would think every game, like the start of every game is like the start of the season where these guys are coming out of preseason, not having played with each other the way they look, you know. But they've done a pretty good job, you know, in the later half. It's basically gotten to this point where it's like, hey, you can't count them out until the clock strikes 0 finally, you know. Like, this team just finds a way to turn it up, but I would like to see them, you know, just be that second half in the first half, you know. Like, I would like to see them just play a complete game on offense, which, you know, to give them credit, they've done that before. They pretty much did that in the Dallas game, you know. Really, I mean, most of their points did come in the second half, but, you know, they kind of at least showed out a bit in that Dallas game. The Jacksonville game, they kind of were better in the first half than really the second half, because the second half they didn't do too much. The Bengals game, obviously, they did pretty well. Nothing in the first quarter, though, that game. But, that one was a bit more complete. They did a pretty even amount of work in the second, third, and fourth quarter in that game. So, it's like I just want to see more stuff like that. But, hey, man, that early bye week turns out to be the biggest blessing, huh? They were 2-2, had a really bad loss to the Bucks, without AJ. And I can't remember, I don't think Smithy played that game either, but still it was a game that even if they were playing, I don't know if they would have won, because like that was something that I had said was that I don't know if they win that game even then because they were kind of really struggling. But, they're 2-2, kind of struggling to get things together. The bye week comes. They're 6-0 out the bye week. Jalen Hurts went a whole month until the November game, I believe, without throwing a pick. Did he throw a pick in that Jacksonville game? I can't remember. No, he didn't. So it was until I think the Cowboys game that he finally had a pick, right? He had gone basically a month span without throwing a pick, the 4-game stretch. The defense has turned it around. And sure, there's going to be the people, obviously. Oh, it's the Browns, it's the Giants, it's the Jaguars, it's the Cowboys without Dak. But it's like I always say, you can only play the teams in front of you. I'll never get mad at any team for having a good record with an easy schedule because, you can only play the games in front of you. You can only play the teams in front of you. And if you were to lose those teams, people would hold it against you for not beating them, So it's like they're doing their job. And it's like I said from before that, this was the stretch they needed to go on because of this second sort of half of the schedule, or not second half, but the final sort of stretch of the schedule. You got the Rams next, the Ravens next. You get a break with the Panthers, but again, you can't take them lightly. You can't take any team lightly. The Steelers have been looking pretty good. You got Washington, Dallas, and New York to finish it off again. So it's like this was more than even I was requiring out of them. Like if you remember, I was just saying I would like them to get a pretty decent amount of wins in the 4-game stretch, but in the 6-game stretch, they've gone 6-0. They've racked up a ton of wins to help them out to where, hey, if you lose to the Ravens week 13, it's not that bad of a loss on your record because of the wins you stacked up early on over here, So I'm real happy. Obviously, this win puts them on the top of the division, and like I said in the last Philly talk, do not relinquish this lead. You've got the lead. You work to get this lead. Now hold it, So, and that starts with the Rams in LA. Should be a good one. The Rams have struggled this year. We're 4-1 against them in the last 5 encounters. You can't take them lightly though. But I think the defense just shows through yet again. I think they're going to show out yet again. And the offense, they just need to start off hot, or at the very least, just be decent enough to help that defense out, Give them a cushion to work with, and just really go out there and just really show out, Very excited for this team's future. Very excited, especially for the month of December, because they got a real good amount of games in December that should be fun to watch, especially that Ravens game. Honestly, man, they should consider flexing that Ravens game to the Monday night game, because I believe the Monday night game is Broncos Browns. Who made the schedule and said, what needs to be in oh no, sorry, that's the Monday night game. Sorry, the Sunday night game is Tennessee and Washington. Wait, no, that says 1 p.m. Wait, where is the final game? Hold on, let me see. Week 13. Because here we go. Okay, never mind. Sunday night game is Niners Bills. They're not gonna flex that out. That's a pretty good game, but I'm just saying, man. Eagles Ravens. Consider flexing that one to Sunday night, because that looks like a pretty good game. That's looking like it's gonna be one of the best matchups between Saquon and Derrick Henry. going off each time. My gosh, why am I blanking? The Eagles defense having to go against Derrick Henry, Baltimore's defense having to go against, Saquon Barkley. Eagles defense having to go against Lamar and Derrick Henry, That's just a very fun matchup. I can't wait for that game. But of course, can't brush past LA. Just a lot to look forward to with this team, man. I'm just so excited. And I'm glad that they've done such a great job of uplifting the mood of Philly after, the Phillies just falling short, the Sixers having such a bad start, and I mean the Flyers, they're still young, they're still in that rebuild phase, so it's like no one has too high expectations in them, so they're just having fun watching the team. But yeah, I'm just glad the Eagles have been here to really uplift things, and like I said, I just can't say it enough. I'm just super excited about this team's future. It's really giving me flashbacks to like right before the 2022 season, where I was just so optimistic about this team and what they can accomplish.